All right, let's get into it. Today, we're tackling one of the biggest, most foundational events in the Imperium's entire history, the Great Crusade. And, we're going to look past that shiny, official story of glorious conquest. We're going to dig in and uncover the desperate, hidden truth that was really driving this whole galaxy-spanning war.
So, let's just kick things off with the big question, right? Was the Great Crusade really humanity's greatest achievement, this glorious conquest born from a position of strength? Or was it something else entirely? Something more like a frantic, absolutely desperate race against the clock?
I mean, the story we all know, the one we've all been told, is pretty epic, right? It's all about manifest destiny. For 2 whole centuries, you have the Emperor and his sons leading their legions out from Terra. They're reuniting all the lost colonies of humanity, forging the greatest empire the galaxy had ever seen. Seems like a pretty straightforward story of conquest, but yeah, that is not the whole picture. Not even close. Okay, moving on. The real driver behind the Crusade? It wasn't ambition, it wasn't glory, it was just survival. The Emperor wasn't just out there conquering a galaxy for the fun of it. He was desperately, frantically trying to shield humanity from threats it couldn't even begin to comprehend. And to really understand that threat, we first have to talk about the warp. Now, it's not just the way you get from point A to point B faster than light. No. It's this roiling, chaotic dimension of pure psychic energy. And every single time a ship jumps in, it's a massive, perilous gamble. We're talking about a fundamental, metaphysical danger that's literally woven into the fabric of the galaxy.
And here's the thing. The warp isn't empty. Not at all. It's home to chaos. These vast, malignant intelligences that look at mortal souls and see them as playthings, as fuel. Think of it like a psychic infection, constantly whispering at the edges of reality, always looking for a way in to corrupt minds and twist flesh. This was the enemy the Emperor was truly terrified of. So after that long, dark night of isolation, humanity was facing what was basically a perfect storm of threats that could wipe them out. You've got predatory alien empires popping up everywhere. You've got that constant, insidious danger of psychic corruption. And on top of all that, humanity itself was just shattered into a million warring pieces, making everyone easy prey. Leaving things the way they were, well, that was a death sentence. Simple as that.
So this is exactly why the Emperor's whole game plan was unification, bringing worlds into compliance. That was the term they used. It wasn't just about making the map bigger or expanding an empire. It was a deeply, profoundly defensive move, a strategy designed to build a kind of shield against all those horrors lurking out there in the galaxy. And this completely reframes the entire purpose of the Crusade, doesn't it? The popular myth, the story you usually hear, is that compliance was all about forcing a secular ideology on a bunch of superstitious worlds. But the reality? It was about metaphysical containment. It was about creating a psychic firewall across all of human space. And that's where the imperial truth comes in. That rigid, super-rational, anti-religious doctrine. It wasn't just an ideology for its own sake. It was a practical tool to get the job done. The whole point was to strip away all the superstitions and old beliefs that could act like little beacons for the warp's influence. By doing that, the Emperor was trying to patch up humanity's psychic vulnerabilities and build a unified, coherent defense. But here's the biggest secret of all. The real twist in the story. The entire Great Crusade, this 2-century-long galaxy-spanning war, it was just a distraction, a massive holding action, a way to buy time for the Emperor's real solution, his ultimate all-or-nothing gamble for the future of humanity. This timeline right here shows that pivot perfectly. I mean, think about it. The Emperor is at the absolute peak of his military success. The triumph at Ulanar is still fresh. And what does he do? Something completely shocking. He makes his favorite son, Horus, the War Master. He basically hands him the keys to the entire crusade, and then he just disappears, withdraws back to Terra for some secret project. And look, this wasn't him retiring, this wasn't abandonment. The Emperor's greatest work, the one single project that everything, and I mean everything, depended on, was only just getting started, deep, deep beneath the Imperial Palace. So what was this grand project? It was his end game, the human Webway. A top-secret, absolutely monumental project to build a human-controlled gateway into a stable, parallel dimension. If he could pull this off, it would mean safe, instantaneous travel across the entire galaxy. You could completely bypass the warp and all of its horrors forever. This wasn't a bandage. This was the permanent cure. Okay,
So let's put all the pieces together now. The Great Crusade? It wasn't a war of choice. It was a desperate, galaxy-wide holding action. It was a frantic race to unite and shield as many human worlds as possible just to buy enough time for the Emperor to finish the one project that could actually save them all. And you see, to win this insane race against extinction, the Emperor had to step away from the front lines himself. He literally had no other choice. He had to entrust the fate of his grand strategy, this massive holding action, to his Primarch sons. The weight of the entire galaxy, the future of the human race, now rested squarely on their shoulders.
Which, of course, brings us to the final and most tragic question of all. The Emperor's plan. It was a masterpiece of cold, strategic logic, designed to save an entire species. But he put its execution in the hands of beings of immense power, yes, but also immense pride and passion. So the question is, could his grand strategy ever possibly survive their all-too-human flaws?